Okay, this is Omer. This is Chesed of Malchut. So do you really want to give? It's the last and final week of Omer, the week of Malchut. So Malchut is the week that really polishes everything. It's a time to reflect on how we can continually apply what we've learned over the past 6 weeks in our lives. This doesn't mean just doing it once a year during Sephirah, but rather taking the lessons we've learned each day during this period and using them to refine ourselves every single day. So after all, that's what Sephirah is all about. Malchut is about ruling and leading. It's an innate part of human nature, stemming from Adam Harishon, the first man who was the leader of the world. So though only a few become kings or rulers, many still have this desire to rule over others. So when taken to a negative place, people can desire to control the lives of others. When this happens, it damages the Sephirah of Malchut. So Kabbalah's age-old axiom, Ana Yimloch, instructs us on the strength of choice. So therefore, we must now select which route to take. So Kabbalah tells us that before this world, there were 7 kings, each of whom wanted to rule. There was a lot of damage caused by these monarchs' shared desire for power. So it is important to remember that even in expressing your ambition and wanting to become a leader yourself, you must do so responsibly, so lest history repeat itself. This can be explained in 2 ways, from a negative perspective and from a positive point of view. So being in a position of power can be tricky. Having the ambition to lead and wanting to make a difference is great. But when power is used for only one person's benefit, it can be harmful. Even the most honest politicians can get lost in the glamour of their job and start making decisions that help only themselves instead of the people who elected them. It's important for those in charge to remember that they are in office for the public good and should always strive to make choices that benefit everyone. When it's very positive, it means that I really want to do something nice and helpful for someone else. That's when the phrase Ana Yimloch, so I will rule, becomes full of kindness. If our goal is to derive power, it comes from impurity and darkness. However, when we strive for good, the force of holiness guides us. This can simply be referred to as ratzon pashut, a simple will that allows us to do something kind for another person. We should ask ourselves at the end of each day, have I been honest and productive today? So have I done what is expected of me? To embody true power means taking responsibility and being accountable for our actions. It's up to us to make a positive difference. So picture this. You leave the office at 5 p.m. and your boss inquires why he's paying you, yet nothing was done all day. Now ask yourself, what did I accomplish today? Did I do as expected by my employer? Is there more to be desired from me? As an employer of the master of the universe, how productive were you in completing tasks that yield beneficial results from this world? So make sure to reflect on your efforts each day so that progress can remain seamless. Okay, if you are wise and truly pay attention to yourself, treating your life like a business, that is, taking care of it in order to make progress, you should also monitor how much spiritual growth you have achieved. So at the end of each day, take some time for self-reflection. What did I achieve today? Was I productive? Once that's done, you can head up toward heaven at night with something to be proud of. However, you must also ask yourself a different question every day that ties into our discussion. Have I done something meaningful today? Did I demonstrate an act of kindness? Of course, prayer and reciting Birkat HaMazon is necessary, but those activities alone don't suffice. So ask yourself, have I done any good? Have I helped somebody today? Mashiach could either come in an easy way or a catastrophic catastrophe known as Gog uMagog. So the war of Gog and Magog. The Gemara says that if you want to be saved from this potential disaster, then take action. Learn Torah consistently and perform acts of kindness. This is sure to keep you safe at the end of it all. Charity saves from death is what the verse says. So every day, do 5 acts of kindness for people around you. In fact, make sure you don't sleep until you do this. It could be something helping someone with a task, bringing groceries, or being kind to someone else. So doing these mitzvahs will bring joy and show God we are caring for his earth. It will also help us make closer relationships with other people and demonstrate our devotion to God. So we have the power to do good for other people, but it is easy to feel like we don't want to help someone who was hurt or talked down to us. So Hashem gives us many opportunities to help others. If we don't use this power, we waste an important opportunity and take something positive and turn it into a negative. How do I achieve this? This can be done through Chesed, which is essentially love. Hashem's sole purpose in life is to care and provide for his creations. He isn't searching for activities or ways to pass the time, but rather it is his will and desire to bestow kindness upon us all. In the same way, Hashem provides me with energy, strength, and capacity to benefit other people. But what is the point of being here if I don't use these gifts for good purposes? Hashem desires us to be like him. It is our obligation only to create goodness for everyone. Hashem is ready even to endure humiliations and false accusations should that inspire us as well. So consider the sheer number of people who are disrespecting and dishonoring Hashem. Despite this, he is still willing to forgive them. When studying Torah-Centered, it is explained that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will allow for embarrassment, yet urges us to act kindly towards one another despite the embarrassment. We have been granted tremendous power from Hashem. Let's use it in a positive way. So Rabbi Moshe Cordevero's book, Torah-Centered, emphasizes the idea that we should strive to emulate our Creator. There's actually a link in the description of this video for a good version of that book. It's a wonderful book. We have a playlist on this YouTube channel for the whole reading of Torah-Centered as well. So Rabbi Moshe Cordevero's book Torah-Centered emphasizes the idea that we should strive to emulate our Creator. He draws on a verse from Malachi, saying it contains 13 attributes of mercy that should personally guide us in this pursuit and help us understand how best to mirror the divine. I need to make a correction. I believe this book is saying that it's from Malachi, but the verse is actually from Micha. So anyway, by looking closely at what God does, we can use that knowledge to guide our own path. We should strive to walk in God's path and be a king of Chesed, kindness. Doing acts of kindness should come from love, not simply for the sake of doing them. So if we don't get to that point, something critical is missing inside us. That's why it's important to do at least 5 acts of loving kindness each day. It is natural for us to make mistakes, both in the past and present. But instead of focusing solely on them, turning our attention towards how can we amend them can have a much greater impact. So yes, you may have lied or judged someone unfairly at some time, but countering this with good deeds and virtues will bring about greater balance in the end. So every day we should strive to follow in the footsteps of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Holy and Blessed be He, and be kind and considerate towards everyone. Doing acts of kindness is an important part of our mission. In addition, charity activities are a great way to show gratitude for all that Hashem has given us by providing food and sustenance for his creatures. And as a matter of fact, even a better charity is words. So Omer Tzadikim teaches that something that's even better than handing somebody something is words. Words are very powerful, especially to people in need. But on top of that, if you can't give charity, the other potential is to learn Torah, because learning Torah brings sustenance to the entire world. Hashem is always looking out for every person, even those who are considered wicked. So some people may wonder why he continues to take care of these individuals. Just the other day, my little one asked me a thought-provoking question. Why did Hashem create bad people? So explaining such an idea to a 7-year-old can be quite tricky if they're seeing evil in this world. So how do you justify its existence? So you may wonder why Hashem maintains the bad people in this world. It could be so much simpler to get rid of them. But the truth is that we're still living within our exile, and herein lies the challenge. It is exceedingly difficult for us to recognize goodness found in everything, since every action contains a divine spark. So right now, there's a level of concealment. So we don't see the good in everything, and even something that we perceive as bad can actually be good. So we just don't see it yet. So why? Because we don't have permission to see beyond that level of concealment yet. Therefore, Chesed of Malchut symbolizes the power within us granted by God to perform acts of kindness. I had to inform someone that their act of kindness was not considered true charity because they did it with a motive in mind instead of doing it for the sole purpose of being generous. So although money wasn't involved, this action still didn't count as tzedakah or charity. Even though my words might have been difficult to hear, it was important this person knew what true tzedakah is. Kindness that is driven by ulterior motives isn't truly giving. True kindness, or chesed, happens when we give to another without expecting anything in return. So no thank yous, recognition, or rewards of any kind. That's genuine giving. It comes from an authentic place of wanting to do good for someone else with zero thought as to what will come back our way. So ultimately, you must ponder the power of anagim loch that lies within. So where are you taking it? If your ultimate goal is to misuse, abuse control, be aware that this midah this character trait can lead to some extremely dark places. So many people become evil through their quest for dominance as they yearn for absolute authority over others, wanting nothing more than being able to call all the shots. So let's use this energy and channel it in a positive direction by becoming generous. This is Malchut of Chesed. We need to embody generosity like the Holy One, blessed be He, does. So if you want to touch the Holy One's heart, emulate Him. When is a parent most pleased with their child? When the child follows in the parents' footsteps. So this is what Tomer Devorah is all about, is emulating Hashem in actions, because we are created in the Tzelem, in the Demut, the image and likeness of the Creator. But the entire Hebrew Bible does not say that we were created in the Toar, or the appearance, as in like a father and a son have the same Toar. So we're not created in the Toar, but the image and likeness, or sometimes Demut is like pattern, right? So because we're created in Hashem's image, we have to emulate Him in actions. That's the important part. So when the child follows in the parents' footsteps, therefore it should be no surprise that we wish for our children to go down a righteous path. We desire them to be even better than ourselves. How much joy does it give Hashem when we follow Him? So most of individuals are unaware of just how powerful they truly can be and what unique assets lie dormant within them. It is essential to understand that we all possess a potent strength that must be discovered and unleashed for us to reach our full potential. After all, why would God grant you something only for it to be overlooked or neglected? It is important to tap into the gifts He has provided and use them. So each individual has unique qualities, virtues, and talents that are uniquely theirs. The Almighty bestows their special gifts to each of us for a reason, so we can use them for the betterment of those around us. So why did Hashem give you your talent? It is meant to be used as an example of goodness in order to influence others positively. So we all possess talents. From being a master chef to an accomplished gardener or violinist, we are all blessed with at least one talent and many more. It doesn't matter what it is. You don't have to be the next Picasso to acknowledge your gifts and abilities. Even if you're just a fantastic baker, that's absolutely still worth celebrating. It is essential to reflect on both your weaknesses and strengths in order to maximize your personal power. Tikkun Hamidot, or correction of the character traits, encourages us to examine what we are not good at, such as being too judgmental, quick-tempered, impatient, and work towards improving them. But at the same time, it's important that you recognize the capabilities you possess. Perhaps you have great communication skills, patience, courtesy, etc. So when taking an honest look at yourself with these values as a guidepost, then you can begin unleashing your true potential. Making a list of your positive qualities can be beneficial. As Moshe demonstrated, knowing your worth is essential, but it's important to practice balance and ensure one's ego doesn't become too inflated in the process. It was clear that Moses had an understanding of who he was. Take a moment and make two lists. One that contains all the not-so-great traits about yourself, such as impatience or being judgmental, and the other which lists your strengths, like positivity or resilience. So once these are written down, take time to reflect on how amazing you truly are with so many good attributes despite any bad ones. So now reflect on the gifts that Hashem has bestowed upon you. Are you using them? But more importantly, are those gifts being used to benefit others around you? So this is Chesed of Malchut, the divine ability within us to give generously to others. God, after all, desires only giving. He does not take for himself and never expects anything in return. His essence of being a giver enriches us with infinite love and mercy, constantly blessing our lives without end. So at the end of the day, you want to ask yourself, did I do good to at least one person? Did one person smile today because of me? So if you can't answer yes, that's already not a good thing. So at least go on Facebook and put up a funny post that will make someone smile. After I'm done with my day, one of the first things on my mind is to what I will be up to tomorrow. So sure, there's walking and eating and all that. Yet more importantly, how can I make sure that every hour the next day is utilized in a productive manner? So there's an old tradition practiced by Chasidim that suggests taking a brief pause at each round hour throughout your day, and then you reflect upon it if you successfully use those 60 minutes that just passed. So if you're wise enough to adhere to this practice regularly, then soon enough, Facebook won't have much control over your life. It used to be that the radio was interrupted by a beep every hour. So if you tuned in when you heard a broadcaster announce the time and provide 30 seconds of news headlines for that day, then it went back to music or talk shows as if nothing happened. So every hour, take a moment to reflect and ask, what did I do for the last 60 minutes? So whether it was making phone calls, sending emojis, or watching cats dance on YouTube, anything counts. This way you can track your positivity and ensure that each day is spent efficiently. So ultimately, when reflecting on the day, we want to evaluate whether or not it was productive. A significant part of that productivity is in assessing if we have genuinely and selflessly helped someone today. No strings attached. Not with ulterior motives like needing assistance or in return or simply giving a tip. Rather, an altruistic act that truly impacts another person's life for the better. So now that's making a difference. So believe me, if it is your mission in life, Hashem will take care of all your needs and provide you with an income. He'll ensure everything goes smoothly, because if you live a life dedicated to improving the lives of others, then nothing else matters. So we want to meditate on how I am doing real Chesed like the king of the world. Do you know that what your daily reminder is? So when you say Modeh ani lefanecha, Hashem has done you a favor. He gave you back your soul. So this is what we say in the morning when we wake up. Modeh ani lefanecha melachai v'kayam shehech hazar tevi nishmati bechemla rabba imunatecha. And it's essentially like practicing for the resurrection of the dead. Like, I'm grateful before you because you've restored my soul within me. So now we have to ask, what do you want me to do, Hashem? So if you don't ask Hashem what he wants you to do in the morning, you are missing a big part of your plan for the day. So every morning when I say Modeh ani, I take 10 seconds to pause and ask Hashem, what do you want me to accomplish today? Then immediately a response comes. Usually it's in the form of stepping on a toy instead of screaming at my children for leaving it out. Aha, patience is what he requires of me today. A reminder that no matter how infuriating things are, anger isn't going to help any situation. This reminds me each day that even during moments when everyone seems determined to drive me crazy, this too is part of God's plan for growth and learning. So former American President John F. Kennedy famously said, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. So this is a manifestation of Chesed of Malchut, that we give to others without looking for anything in return.